This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Controversy over an encampment in the University Heights area of Winnipeg is exposing a debate on how best to deal with homelessness. CBC's Emily Brass visited the encampment along the Red River earlier today and talked to people who live nearby.
Along this well-hidden path in Glengarry Park is a little camp Alan Urrutia calls home.
We're like a family. We help each other. We have our own parts. Somebody does garbage. Somebody does cooking.
Police dropped by the South End encampment today on a community safety check, followed by Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service. Outreach workers have also visited recently, some urging them to move inside. Urrutia says he won't.
We don't like the homeless shelters, but we like the wilderness. And, you know, if you can help us out, help us out. You know, we're not going anywhere.
But some neighbors say the encampment has been affecting their lives for several years now.
It still leaves you uncomfortable. You can't just go out and relax in the yard.
Leslie Ween says there have been problems with unsanitary conditions, noise, and evidence of drug use.
My heart goes out to those people. They need homes. They need places to be.
I spoke with two of the city's partner organizations working with the camp. One of them, St. Boniface Street Link, says it believes in finding people housing first, then addressing other problems like mental health or drug use. Meanwhile, Main Street Project takes a human rights-based approach and often supports the unhoused where they are.
One neighbor says he sympathizes, but feels residents also have rights to a safe and peaceful neighborhood. He wishes outreach groups and levels of governments were more coordinated.
There's a need for one person, one department maybe called homelessness, and all the social agencies to be on the same page with an appropriate budget.
The city says it's had complaints, but only intervenes if there's an immediate risk to public or personal safety. Urrutia says there's no need to worry.
It's just how people think, I guess. Like, if they see a homeless person or somebody that's down on the luck, they make assumptions. And we're not like that.
The city says there are no plans to make them leave. Emily Brass, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now, in a statement late this afternoon, the mayor says the city is speaking with the province and community partners about a single, coordinated plan to address homelessness. Mayor Scott Gillingham says that would include housing first, wraparound support services, and effective data tracking. Construction is underway on a new 24-unit transitional housing space in Brandon. The John Howard Society of Brandon officially broke ground on the project yesterday. The Society says the goal is to help those who are homeless, at risk of homelessness, or exiting corrections. Executive Director Ross Robinson says the three-story building will help people get on their feet by providing a roof and connections to different community agencies and helpers.
We want the city to be part of this, everybody have a role to play. If they've got a skill they want to bring in, some cultural help that they want to bring, some spiritual help they want to bring, if they want to help somebody learn how to budget, how to write a resume, we're going to have some professional people there, but somebody going to need some actual extra assistance. And when we build those, when we break down those barriers and build those bonds, that's going to make everything more successful.
The Transitional Housing Project has raised around $10.6 million so far, but needs another $300,000. Construction is expected to be completed by June of 2025. Want to bring you some video that is just back into the newsroom. Fire crews in West St. Paul have been battling a blaze at a home there for much of the afternoon. This is at the corner of River Edge Drive and Mariners Trail, just off of Highway 9. We'll bring you the latest on this fire as it becomes available at cbc.ca/Manitoba. A plan to reshape Winnipeg's downtown over the next quarter century took a step forward at City Hall today. The plan drew support from downtown advocates, but as the CBC's Cameron McLean reports, some are questioning whether the city had the funding to make it work.
Centre Plan 2050 is a blueprint for redeveloping downtown Winnipeg. Today, members of the public were invited to a hearing to share their thoughts. The plan aims to build tens of thousands of new housing units in order to increase the number of people living in the core. It will also dramatically reorient streets with a greater focus on pedestrians. One of its key elements, repurposing Graham Avenue as a pedestrian mall once buses are rerouted to Portage next year. Kevin Donnelly, Vice President at True North Sports and Entertainment, spoke in support of the plan. But he worries about what will happen to Graham once the buses leave.
With Graham, if you build it, they don't just come. It needs to be planned and programmed and executed, and that takes time and money.
City staff told the committee they have set aside $250,000 for events like farmers markets and other events once the buses leave Graham. Other speakers raised concerns about how the plan would affect vulnerable people living in the area. Another part of the plan focuses on redeveloping the area around Thunderbird House. Main Street Project Executive Director Jamil Mahmood wants the city to view the area as a community.
You make sure it has community amenities like public green spaces, places to gather, places to come together as community, recreation spaces, all those things we don't really have in this area.
The Property and Development Committee unanimously approved the plan today. It still needs final approval from Council. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A new report says paying City of Winnipeg employees and contract workers a living wage would cost about $3 million a year. It looked at what it would take to increase the pay of the lowest paid city employees from the minimum wage of $15.30 an hour. Daniel McIntyre councillor Cindy Gilroy has been a proponent of the increase. She says the report shows the cost is minimal compared to the benefit.
We want to make sure that people on their paycheck have enough money to pay rent and buy food. And I think that that's critical. We have, I think, really good staff right now that are working that aren't getting that fair living wage.
The report itself recommends that it be received as information. Gord Delbridge, who is the president of the union that represents city workers, says he thinks the amount estimated in the report is more than the actual cost. Mayor Scott Gillingham says wages should be negotiated at the bargaining table and not in council chambers. Manitoba Hydro says it must spend billions of dollars in the coming years in order to replace or overhaul aging generating stations, transmission towers, and distribution lines. Some are degrading to the point where fixes are required in order to protect Manitoba's power supply. The CBC's Bartley Peguis reports.
Manitoba Hydro has been called the crown jewel of the economy, but there's a tarnish on that jewel. After an infrastructure spending spree a decade ago, Hydro's debt is approaching $25 billion. And as the demand for clean, green electricity intensifies, Hydro has to spend billions more in the coming decades to increase its generating capacity. Now, Hydro also says it must spend billions just to maintain its existing infrastructure. In a report to the Public Utilities Board, Hydro says its generation, transmission, and distribution system have all reached an age where overall condition has begun to degrade and declining performance is apparent through common industry metrics. Hydro says it must increase its maintenance budget to $700 million a year in order to replace or overhaul hydroelectric generating stations, major transmission lines, and smaller distribution lines. Hydro says an inadequate maintenance schedule has compounded the problem. That's led to more service failures and power outages. An increasing amount of degraded asset failures are occurring. The impacts of the failures are growing due to factors that include obsolescence, leading to decreased availability of both spare parts and equipment knowledge and loss of system resilience.
Cost of living is going up.
All these costs are complicating an NDP government pledge to keep a lid on hydro rate hikes. Premier Wab Kinew says it's still possible to keep hydro rates affordable while fixing infrastructure and building up generating capacity.
It adds megawatts to the grid by ensuring that the turbines and the generating facilities we currently have are using the best technology.
The Premier says a new Manitoba energy plan will help Hydro juggle its competing priorities. That plan's expected by the end of September. Bartley Peguis, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, it'll be at least another year before a monument of Chief Peguis is erected at the Manitoba Legislature. The original plan by the Friends of Peguis-Selkirk Treaty was to erect the monument on the grounds of the legislature this September in time for the 160th anniversary of the death of the Saulteaux chief. But the group's co-chair says these things take time and they have to get it right. The group now expects the bronze statue of Chief Peguis to be ready for September of 2025. Well, it's been a soggy start to summer in much of southern Manitoba, and that includes Gimli, which received about 50% more precipitation than a typical June. CBC's Sabina Ahmed visited the Interlake Beach town to see how people there are feeling.
The beach isn't busy. Rentals are closed. No volleyball games either. Not quite the summer people have in mind. Rob Trachtenberg is on a vacation at his family-owned cottage in Gimli and not too happy with the weather.
Well, definitely harder to cut grass. Pets have dirty paws, tracking in a lot of dirt into the cottage, and just not as easygoing, and mosquitoes are much worse than usual.
A rainy beach day can dampen the beach mood, right? Many people, those who come to Gimli for a summer getaway, aren't too happy with the unusually wet weather this year. And many outdoor businesses are seeing a slow start to summer. Didi Mayai is a server and supervisor at Interlake Brewing Company. She says the patio is very dependent on the skies and they're cancelling staff shifts every day.
We're constantly watching the weather, and it's been a really rainy season. We do have a covered patio here, and we kind of make do. We'll open and close it throughout the day, but yeah, the rain's been a little tough.
Samuel Retke is the sailing instructor at the Gimli Yacht Club.
We've seen a big decrease of these big keel boats here going in and out of the harbor because people normally take them on day trips and they just don't want to go out with this rain. And here at the Yacht Club, I teach week-long sailing camps. And we've had unusually bad weather days where we just can't take the kids out and can't get experience on the water for them.
Claire Gillis has been living in Gimli for 25 years.
There's lots of stuff going on. Gimli International Film Festival. We've got the Islandinga Dagran Festival in August. So there's lots of excitement. Music every weekend at the bandstand here. I think there's lots going on, and I think a lot to be said for Gimli. I mean, it's an amazing place. Look at that. And it can't be helped. It can't stop itself from being nice, no matter.
Gillis says, rain or shine, people make the most of Gimli, even if it's gloomier than usual. Zabina Ahmed, CBC News, Gimli.
Well, that brings us to a first check on our weather, and I sound like a bit of a broken record when I say that we are drying out once again. Have a look at some video from this afternoon in Winnipeg after that downpour. This was taken near Portage and Booth and posted on Facebook after that torrential rain that fell through the afternoon. Some stats that are just in from the city. They say 5 reports of sewer backup as of 5 o'clock this afternoon and 36 plugged catch basins on streets. Here's another image I want to show you. This one is from Brookside and Inkster from the Traffic Management Center at the City of Winnipeg. You can see how high that water is up to the bumper, past the bumper of that car. Not quite safe to drive through water like that. So if you encounter water on your street that is that deep, you might want to find another route. Here's how that looked on satellite and radar. It was pretty quick moving through the city, but certainly did pack a punch as it moved through the city. We do have a funnel cloud advisory still in place for much of southern Manitoba, not including the city of Winnipeg, but the Westman region through Dauphin, Riding Mountain into the southern Interlake, looking at the potential at least for some funnel clouds through the afternoon. And we have seen some of that sporadic shower and thunderstorm activity. Much of this not meeting severe thunderstorm criteria, but certainly could see some downpours and a little bit of lightning out of some of these storms. And like I said, the potential for maybe a funnel cloud. And that instability kind of trickles right through southern Saskatchewan, Manitoba into northwestern Ontario. Northern Manitoba seeing much sunnier conditions today. A few showers in the far north and along the Hudson Bay coast. Friday, we clear out nicely. We start sunny once again, and we're really looking at a much sunnier pattern as we head through the day on Friday. Potential for at least a little bit of instability as we get through western Manitoba into the late afternoon again. But by and large, we're looking at sunny conditions through Manitoba and northwestern Ontario. Even as we head into Saturday, then we start to see some cloud building in again and some scattered showers through later Saturday, maybe a few showers into Sunday as well. But I'm thinking mainly cloudy as we get through the day on Sunday there from what you can see. 14 degrees tonight in Winnipeg, a mostly clear sky through the overnight period. A few clouds still hanging around. Northwest winds at 10 up to 17 in the morning tomorrow, 26, a mostly cloudy sky in the afternoon. There's something else important happening tomorrow. The Ottawa Red Blacks in town to face the Blue Bombers. At game time, looking at a temperature of about 25 degrees, west winds at 10, and so wind's not much of a factor, shouldn't get rained on. Don't hold me to that though, because things have happened. 27 for Saturday with some scattered showers, 26 for Monday, and we're looking at a mainly sunny 25 for Tuesday. Your 7-day forecast is coming up. Signs reminding people to coexist with coyotes have popped up around Assiniboine Park. This comes following recent sightings that forced authorities to shut down a trail within the park. Chris Enright is the Senior Director of Zoo Operations for the Assiniboine Park Conservancy.
There's certainly been sightings by park visitors, especially in the early morning or in the evening. We do have coyotes that sometimes will find their way through the perimeter fence and walk through the zoo in the middle of the night. It's when the coyotes are used to people and start following people or following dogs that we start worrying about the potential conflict that could occur. And we do make recommendations in that point to be big, to be intimidating, to remind the coyote that they should be going away.
Coming up, we take you to a new exhibit featuring the work of Dakota and Anishinaabe and Métis artist Leda Fontaine. It opens tomorrow at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, Kumayork. We get a preview and speak with the artist after the break. Welcome back. A new exhibit featuring the work of Dakota, Anishinaabe and Métis artist Lita Fontaine opens tomorrow at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, Kumayuk. Winyan means woman in Dakota. The exhibition celebrates Indigenous women and their resilience to colonial practices. I spoke to Fontaine at the WAG earlier today. Lita Fontaine, it is so nice to speak with you.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you too.
What is it like to finally see this on display?
It's exciting. It's mind-boggling. It's nice to see the work have its place to breathe. I mean, I have it at home and things like that, but it's just not the same experience. So, yeah, having to experience it more in this kind of environment is wonderful.
How much work went into each of these works?
Several hours for each one. These ones, these are my wheels. This one took about maybe, I don't know, a week, watching TV on and off, just doing that. Yeah, so it was part of my medicine because there was a hard time. I was going through some stuff in the family and I needed to find a way to deal with those issues. So as an artist, making artwork can be our medicine sometimes, and that's how this wheel started. This was actually the first wheel out of all the wheels.
You've got a series of wheels, a series of dresses on display here.
Mm-hmm.
What do these mean to you to see them on display in a place like this?
It feels, I don't know, it's hard to say. The dresses are actually like vessels to me, okay? The traditional dress. As a young girl, I used to go to powwows and always dreamed of owning a dress like that. Mom could never afford it because there was 9 of us kids. So I decided to learn and teach myself to make them.
When young Indigenous artists, young Indigenous people in our community take a walk through here and take a look at some of the art that's on display here, what do you hope that they take away from this?
Beauty. I want them to see beauty. As a young Indigenous woman, growing up in a system that's full of, those negative things, like the missing and murdered Indigenous women who are missing, and the Two-Spirit people who are, still fighting for being recognized. And I just want them to feel that sense of beauty because, we all have it within us. And I want to get away from the trauma, of what's happening within our communities and bring beauty into our culture and in the show. And that's really what I'm doing it for the women.
There's lots of pink, there's lots of beadwork, there's lots of bright colors. What does that represent to you?
Lots of things. Pink is warmth, pink is femininity, pink is, I don't know, just basically things I grew up with, that color. There's a certain pink in the 60s I like because there's variations of pink. So I've got to know that.
What do you hope that the general public gets from this?
I would like them to experience the work because as a collage artist and people, for myself as an artist to find found objects and that, I want people to experience, not just to look at it, but I want them to almost touch it, to feel it with their eyes. I want them to experience the work.
Is there any other good works on the go for you that aren't here?
Oh, that's always happening, yeah. I'm taking a break right now because I've done this in the past year, so I'm hoping to maybe travel it later, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to take a break because, I need to rest my hands.
Lita, thank you for your time today, and good luck with the opening tomorrow.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. And it's so nice to meet you.
Have a look at this. The Northern Lights recorded from the International Space Station. This time lapse shows the snaking green line parallel to the surface of the Earth. The solar activity that ignites the aurora right now is especially intense, putting on a really good show for some of us. Stay with us. I'll have your 7-day forecast when we come back. Here's a look at your provincial forecast for your Friday. Mainly sunny skies, a much drier day ahead for us tomorrow. 26 in Winnipeg, Morden, Winkler, Dauphin, Swan River. A few 27s on the map too in the Pas and Thompson. 26 in Brandon. And again, the outside chance we could see maybe a thunderstorm tomorrow, especially in Westman. Here is Bailey. Thank you, Brad, for sending this picture in. Bailey loves the dog walk you forecast very clearly and is watching with bated breath for that walk tomorrow, which should be mainly sunny, up to 26 in the afternoon, 25 by the time we hit the evening, 27 for Saturday with some scattered showers. A few showers roll through on Sunday. And if you're looking for some heat, keep your eye on next Thursday there with that 30-degree high. I can't wait. A resident of BC has just been certified a Guinness World Record holder. It was in a test of how quickly she could pick out letters and other objects from a series. If you're not impressed yet, well, keep in mind that she's actually a chicken, and she's our daily lift.
They're smart, a lot smarter than people think. There's a lot of official steps. They required that, first of all, the chickens get certified by a vet that they're all healthy enough. Then I had to get two timers, two people involved in local sports who had done official timing before. I ran 2 or 3 of them that seemed to be, kind of on their game that day through the different set of tricks that I'd taught them. And they missed some, they got some, and Lacey was the one who got the most, so she's the one with the official record now. I've always, ever since I was a little kid, been fascinated with how animals, all different animals, think or feel. A lot of people have chickens as pets now, and I think they have them as pets, but they're kind of missing out on this other side. And it becomes much more rewarding way to have chickens.
So we had chickens on the farm growing up. I don't think any of them could do that, but then again, I probably didn't try hard enough to get them to sort of jump through a hoop like that or to pick up a balloon or something. I don't know. It's kind of inspiring me now. Thank you for being with us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow.